York City, you may be facing a $250,000 fine if you use the term illegal alien in a derogatory way. The Big Apple tweeting out other new guidelines saying New York City has made it illegal to threaten to call ICE based on discriminatory motive or to tell someone, quote, go back to your country. Hate has no place here. Well, joining me now to talk about that and much more, new Acting Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director, Matthew Albence. Great to have you with us tonight,
Thanks
sir.
For having me.
Okay, so let's talk about that. I want to put up on the screen so people can understand what this new guideline is out of New York City, talking about what's going to get you in trouble. And they say it's about the discriminatory motive. If you're unkind to someone, if you threaten to call ICE, if you make fun of the way that they, are not as proficient in the English language, you can face a fine of up to $250,000 per act. Who's going to make a judgment call on this?
You know, I don't know. I'm certainly no attorney, and it seems to me that there's some First Amendment violations there. It's not going to stop us from doing what we do. We're out there every day getting dangerous criminals off the streets, even in places like New York City that fail to cooperate with us and, in fact, actively thwart our enforcement efforts. We'll continue to be out there. We arrested several hundred criminal aliens out of New York City last week. Criminal aliens that could have been released to us directly from their facilities and their jails that they arrested that they didn't feel the need to give to us. Well,
and they've been, a number of these different cities and sanctuary areas have been very critical of ICE. A number of lawmakers have been critical of ICE. Are you worried that in some way, some place like New York City, which is now outlawing using certain language, those kinds of things could actually come after, ICE agents, people who are out there working, because that's quite a fine?
You know, I'm more concerned really about the fact that these jurisdictions don't cooperate with us. Everybody is safer when law enforcement works together. And the fact that they don't share information on dangerous criminals, don't accept our detainers and hold these dangerous criminals that they just arrested for a criminal violation maybe a day before, and we're there to take that individual into our custody because he's a fugitive, because he's a criminal alien, and they don't cooperate with us. Those individuals are going back out in the community. That's where the real danger lies.
You all had a press conference last week to talk about a big roundup of people that you had found folks that were these are people who were already facing criminal charges, had been deported, those kinds of things in your roundup. But in the Washington Post reporting on this and saying that you were using a bully pulpit to blast sanctuary cities, it says the renewed attack on sanctuary cities was meant as a diversion designed to energize his political base, meaning the president. Fixating on immigration, the specter of danger is a recurring theme for Trump. What do you make of that characterization of what you're doing?
Somebody's not paying attention to what we do. We've been talking about the dangers that sanctuary cities pose for years. Prior to this administration, we worked very hard in the last administration, just as hard as we are now, trying to get these sanctuary cities to cooperate with us, to work with us, to realize the public safety threat that's being created as a result of taking these criminal aliens and releasing them back to the street. You know, Shannon, in some areas, we've done research, and we've found that the recidivism rate is almost 46%. That means that half the individuals that are foreign-born that are sitting in this jurisdiction's facility are going to go out and reoffend as soon as they're released.
So Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is one of the critics of ICE. There are a number of lawmakers and candidates and people are now calling for it to be disbanded or disrupted in the way that we now know it. She tweets this: we're prosecuting people as criminals when they are simply seeking a better life. These are not the actions of the America the world deserves. Can you make a delineation between what you're doing in these sweeps, in these roundups where they say you're terrorizing communities, people who are here illegally versus people who've committed other crimes?
Right. Well, we can only prosecute people for violations that they commit of federal code, which is passed by Congress. So many of the individuals, even those that we do prosecute, that doesn't eliminate the right to apply for some form of relief here in this country. They can be prosecuted for the crime that they've occurred, and when they go in front of the immigration judge, they can make their case. Our arrests, most of our arrests, unless the individual has already been through the immigration court process and exhausted a due process as a fugitive, it's the start of the process, just as in the criminal context. When somebody gets arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, they're not going to jail and being sentenced to prison. They're going to go through a court process, just as we do.
All right. Acting ICE Director Matthew Albence, thank you for stopping in.
Thanks for having me.